Hello, doTERRA family. I'm so excited to be here live with one of our performance advocates, Ashley Hess. My name is Hannah Anderson, and I'm an executive account manager, and I'm also the performance advocate liaison manager. We have been doing this series called the Performance Review. We've done a couple now if you've tuned in with us. And just to briefly remind you what a performance advocate is, doTERRA as a company has created these partnerships with athletes and singers and all types of people from all over the world who love health and wellness and also are very connected to doTERRA. They use our products, they love our products, and Ashley is one of those people. I have been fortunate enough to know Ashley for, oh my gosh, 12 or 13 years now. We knew each other in a previous doTERRA life. And then Ashley actually worked for corporate for a long time. And we started training on the same day. So I am really excited to be talking to Ashley, not only as a performance advocate, but as a friend. So we would love for you guys in the comments to write where you're listening from. And if you have any questions for Ashley, please put them there. But Ash, I am super excited to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I would love for you to introduce yourself, talk about growing up, what your hobbies were, and kind of how you got into singing.
Yeah. This is so fun, Hannah. It's so good to see you, even if it's virtually. But
I know.
I know, so fun. I'm Ashley Hess. I grew up in Fremont, California. I loved being a California girl. I loved being outside, loved the beach. It was nice because I was close enough to the beach, but also close to San Francisco, which was nice. So I just was outdoors a lot. Like I also did sports. I'm the youngest of four kids, so our house was always fun and there was just always a lot happening. And so I was a very active kid. I honestly thought I was going to do sports in college, and like that was kind of the track that I was going because that was what I was most passionate about. But I also love to sing. Music was a big part of my upbringing as well. My dad has an amazing voice. My mom plays the piano. Music was always on in our house. And I can play music by ear. So I took piano lessons in 7th and 8th grade. My parents had all the kids do it, but it was one of those things that I was like, this is stupid. I just want to play sports. I don't want to practice this. I'm never going to use this. Now I'm kicking myself. So if any kids are watching this, listen to your parents, take the lessons. You'll regret it if you don't. Um, but yeah, I was way more into sports, but I could play music by ear. And so it was fun for me to sit down at the piano and kind of pick things out. Like I'd hear a song and I could play it. And that was really fun. It was just a hobby. Like I didn't think, oh, I want to be an artist or I want to pursue this. Not until I moved actually out of California. So I moved from California to Utah for school. And the whole sports thing didn't work out. I got an injury and just it didn't work out to play in college. And so then I was like, well, what am I going to do now? So I was going to school for dental hygiene, started doing that, did not love it. And so I was like, okay, back to the drawing board. What do I love to do? And music's just been a really consistent thing in my life. And I just had friends at the time in Utah who were in a band or who were solo artists that were pursuing music in Utah. And I was like, wait, people are doing this? Like, this is crazy. I didn't realize that, especially in Utah, that there was even a music scene. And so then that's when I kind of got more into the discovery of, okay, learning guitar a little bit and teaching myself piano even more and just learning songs. And then I started posting covers on YouTube and that started going really well. But I grew up singing, but it was just for fun. Like it didn't become a real serious pursuit of mine until I was in college.
Okay. That's crazy. Yeah. It's interesting that you talk about that you thought that like sports would be your thing. And then you just decided, it's not for me. And then it's pretty cool that you had something else that obviously has worked out really well for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So a lot of people, maybe people know this, maybe they don't, but you were on American Idol.
Yes.
And you I remember texting you the day after your first thing viewed and was like, Ashley, what the heck? Like,
I know.
you with Katy Perry. So tell us a little bit about your experience with American Idol. And I'm also interested to know, you've performed with a lot of big names. What has been your favorite performance, whether it's been with another artist or if it's just been a show that you really liked? What has been your kind of favorite performance that way?
Ooh, that's a really good question. And it's hard because I feel like I have categories of favorite performances. Because American Idol, that was like, I've never done anything that high production before up to that point. And so playing with a full band, like full production, like people that are picking your clothes out, doing your hair and makeup, like all these lights, like I've never done anything like that before. That was really cool, but it was really intimidating. Honestly, I think there's two shows that come to mind. One of my favorite performances was right after American Idol, and I came back to Utah and played a show, and it was sold out. And
Yeah.
everyone like knew who I was, and people even knew my original music. And I just remember being on stage like, how does anyone ever get used to this? It was the craziest thing in the whole world. The show was sold out. There was like a line around the whole venue, and it was like the energy in the room was just crazy, and it was one of the funnest shows I've ever played. And then this past December, I went and played a show in Hawaii, and it was, I mean, it's Hawaii. It was amazing, but also it was at the Polynesian Cultural Center there, and this venue, like, it's an indoor venue. It's like a half dome, but there's like a waterfall behind us, and it was like just so magical. And I mean, I love the beach. I love Hawaii. So like, it was just one of those moments where I was like, wow, I'm a full-time musician and I'm getting paid to do what I love. Like it was just one of those moments for me where I was like looking at this sold out crowd doing the thing that I loved in a place that was so magical. And I was like, this is crazy that this is my job.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have any like kind of, or even with American Idol, did you have any like pre-audition rituals or anything that you do to prepare to perform for people?
Yes, I actually have. It's doTERRA is a part of it. So I do. So this was really cool on the show. Actually, that whole experience was the craziest experience of my life because you're like, when I walked in and I just see Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, and Luke Bryan, like it was so surreal. I'm like, I've seen all of you on TV. I've seen like, but like in person was so crazy. And so I knew that, like, especially after my audition went viral and like things started to pick up with the show, I was like, okay, I need to be able to get myself into a headspace where I can perform without getting sidetracked or lost in all of the craziness that was happening around me. And so I do, it's like my favorite, I actually have it right here. It's like right by my bed. Peppermint's my favorite product, period. I use it every day for so many different things. But so I have, I do like some breath work, and then I do 2 drops of peppermint, 1 drop of wild orange, and like rub my hands together and just like inhale. And there's something about the smell that it energizes me, but also kind of calms me at the same time. And I've done it so much before performances that now it's like an association to a very specific mindset that I get into before I perform. And so that's something that I do. I also like to be alone just for like a second before I perform, like when I'm doing this. I mean, not every situation allows me to be by myself or be secluded somewhere, depending on the show. But I like to just have a minute to do my breath work, do my doTERRA, and then like I'm a very like spiritual person, so I like to pray and just visualize what I want the performance to look like, and just like visualize myself just having fun and just doing what I love, and then I go out and do my thing. So I try to have a minute to just get into that mindset. But doTERRA plays a huge part into it. I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. So you have these pre-show rituals that kind of get you ready. Yes. When you have either performances or you know, I'm sure, I don't know what it's like to be in the musical industry. I can barely carry a note myself, and I do not play any musical instruments. But when you are excited about something and something doesn't go as planned, or you have a show that doesn't sell out, or just how do you handle, I imagine that it's a really tough industry to be in, and you've definitely like blasted yourself, you know, from what you started as and to where you are now. How do you kind of handle those disappointments, and how do you move forward in those situations? And have you had any certain, can you pinpoint a certain breakthrough that kind of led to like an aha moment for you that kind of changed the trajectory of what you've been doing?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I love that question. Man, it is a hard industry for sure. And I'm also really hard on myself. Like, I have very high expectations. And I just expect a lot of myself, which is a great thing, but it also can be my downfall at times just
Sure.
because I will like pick everything apart. And so I've had moments where I had a show or a performance or a moment that just I was like, I know it wasn't my best, and it's so hard to get past it, especially when it's displayed on such a public level of like all these people are at the show and I felt like I botched it. Obviously, I'm my own worst critic, but it's so hard. And so something that helps me though is like I really try to reframe the way that I look at it instead of like, oh, that was so awful. I'm the worst. Like I'm so embarrassed. I'm never doing this again. Because it's so easy to be like to close off and want to be like, oh, I don't want to put myself out there again. It's too scary. But something that's been really helpful for me is to kind of look at it as, okay, yes, I've come such a long way. And it's nice to look back and see the progress that I've made since I first started singing and making YouTube videos. And now I'm like, this is what I do for a living. And I'm so grateful for that. So practicing that gratitude and just like being mindful of where I'm at and how hard I've worked to get here, but then also understanding I'm constantly learning. And I learn far more from failures or mistakes than I do from moments of success or like big moments that I felt went really well. Like those things are great, but I feel like it's in those failures and mistakes that I learn the most. And so I try to look at it as like, okay, I know that wasn't my best and that's okay. What can I learn from it to improve for the next performance or for the next phase or for this next project that I'm working on? Just because I've just learned it's all about my focus. Is that if I'm so focused on what I did wrong from a sense of like just frustration and picking it apart, then it's so much harder for me to put myself out there again. But if I'm looking at it from a place of more loving and understanding of like, yes, I made a mistake. It wasn't perfect. How can I learn from it and improve? That makes me excited because I'm like, oh, I have an opportunity to get better, which is really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just keeping that, always moving forward, always,
Yes.
acknowledging what could have gone better or whatever. But and it's good to acknowledge those things and kind of,
Absolutely.
acknowledge, but then also keep moving forward. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I also imagine that not being able to do performances for a long time was probably pretty hard on you.
Yeah.
Did you mostly just stick to social media? I know that you did a lot of Instagram lives. They're always really fun to watch. And we'll have you share your Instagram handle and everything. But what was 2020, 2021? What has that been like for an artist like you?
Oh, it's been a learning curve. That's for sure. It was really hard because I was on my season of American Idol was in 2019. And I had all this momentum, all of these big plans of everything that was happening. And then 2020, the world just shut down. And so many shows were canceled. Just like all of these plans that I had made, it felt like just the rug got ripped out from underneath me, just like it did with, I'm pretty sure, 99.9% of it.
Yeah.
And so that was really hard to come back from because it wasn't like, okay, I'll just reroute and do other performances. Like no performances were happening. Luckily, I was able to do a lot of things virtually. So I did virtual shows, which was actually really cool at first. But then after like a month of that, I felt like everyone was just sick of being on their computer, like being on Zoom, watching Instagram lives. Like it was really cool to still be able to connect, but then it just felt so oversaturated and flooded with just everybody was doing that because that was the only thing we could do. But something that was really cool for me is I was like, okay, I felt like I had all this time then because I was like, I'm not performing, I'm not traveling, doing all these shows anymore. And so I spent a lot of time writing and learning more production and how to produce my own stuff and just developing a lot of things that I finally had the time to develop. And so I tried to make the most of it as an artist to just take that as time to just really develop my craft and write songs and just do all the things that are harder to do when I'm traveling and performing as much as I was. And so that was really good, but performing is my favorite part of it. And so, man, it was really hard. There were like a lot of times when I was just sad and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And the unknown of like, is this going to pick up again? Because I remember thinking it'll be a couple weeks, like a couple weeks of shows got canceled. And then like the rest of the year shows got canceled. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have a job anymore. So it was hard, but things have picked up again. I mean, the world is so different now, but it's still like you always find ways around it. But it's just been interesting.
Yeah, well, and it's hard because I obviously don't know what your perspective was in that. You know, I know what I went through and other people I've talked to went through, but I also think it's really cool, especially like when you would do your lives and you would be sharing your music. I think that during such a hard time for so many people, that was so impactful. Like I remember watching some of your lives and with my kids and being like, oh, this is mommy's friend. Like, listen to how beautiful her voice is.
Yeah.
And like, we loved listening to your music. So I'm sure that that's really hard. And there was a lot of unknowns, but I'm sure that you definitely impacted a lot of people during a really hard time for them.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. And that is something too that I recognize about what I do is like, how cool is it that something that I do, even if I'm not able to go out and actually perform and like do shows like while the world shut down, like music is still such a connecting tool that like helps people feel seen and heard and understood and connect with something. And so I just felt, I remember I had moments like that too, where other people's music did that for me, like multiple times in my life, but especially during the pandemic of just like feeling so isolated, like how crucial music was for me just as a listener, but then also as a creator and as an artist. And so it was a hard thing that I felt like I lost in a sense, but then also something that I felt like carried me through the whole thing.
Yeah, well, you definitely have been a gift for a lot of people. So what's next for you? What's next for Ashley Hess?
So thankfully to like, because of the pandemic and quarantine and like sitting home for so long writing, I'm actually releasing a full project this year. So this will be the first time I release a full album.
Awesome.
And so that's all I can really say about it, but just stay tuned because there's a lot of new music that's coming. So
that's way exciing. I actually just got chills. I remember back in like the call center when you released your little I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I downloaded it immediately. I could probably still sing you every word, but that's super exciting. I'm sure that everyone's really excited to hear that. And then just kind of to wind things down, what you said peppermint, obviously. I know you love Deep Blue, even though you said that, you know, sports didn't work out for you. I know you're a very active person. I know working out is a big part of your lifestyle. So you love the Deep Blue products, but besides kind of those and peppermint, what else do you love?
I love On Guard. I'm traveling with On Guard always, especially as a singer. I can't really afford to get sick or to have any issues vocally. So those On Guard throat drops I take constantly. Like those have been game changing for me. I also love the breathe drops as well. And I like to breathe too. That's something too before I'm recording. Or just if it's like I travel quite a bit. And so if I'm in like a new climate or something, I'll always just put breathe on my chest or use the breathe vapor stick, which is nice. But On Guard products, breathe, past tense, I love. Oh, and I use Rose, like the Rose Touch for my skin. I love it. Nice. I love it. Yeah, so those I feel like are my main. On Guard, I use every day. Like those throat drops. I'm like it's funny, I sing with this band and there's another member of the band that like now is obsessed with On Guard and he like will not sing without it. And I'm like, yes, I'm just like the oil lady that's just passing out oils and throat drops to everybody. That they help so much. I love them.
Well, that's awesome. We love to hear that. You know, like I said before, that's when we choose to partner with performance advocates, we choose to partner with people who authentically love doTERRA, and that definitely shows through you. So I'm sure people that are watching have questions about where they can follow you on social media and also how they can stream your music. If you will share those platforms with us.
So I made it easy. All my handles across all the boards like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, everything. It's just Ashley Hess Music. And then all my music that's available right now is on Spotify, Apple Music, like any place you stream music, just type in Ashley Hess and you'll find some of my stuff. And more is coming this year, so stay tuned.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to hear it. Thank you so much for joining us, Ashley. My heart has been so excited to talk to you, but it kind of hurts a little too because I miss you.
I know, it's so good to talk to you.
Yeah, but your doTERRA family loves you. We're excited about our partnership with you. And we look forward to everything big happening for you and wish you all the luck in 2022.
Thank you so much. You guys are the best.
All right. Thanks for joining, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.